Well, welcome back to Glencoe. I'm on the side of the loch here. This is Loch Leven, and I'm just outside the village of Glenachulish. Behind me is St John's Church here, and behind St John's Church is a nice big ridge, and just after that is what's called Glenachulish. Now, the other day I was on the mountain bike tootling around, and I saw this track veering off from the right hand side at Glenachulish, and I thought, let's go and explore that. And I got on the bike, I went up through this very sort of overgrown canopy, and then all of a sudden I got around the side of this peninsula, and the whole thing just opened up, and right in front of me was this fantastic little hidden gem that honestly I've never seen before. I've never seen a photograph before, and the great thing is it looks over Loch Linney towards Oban and to Ardmerkin, and it's got a great potential for a sunset, and it was just a stunning location, and it was just one of those hidden gems that I just thought, I'm coming back here to get sunset for this. So what I've done is I've come back. I'm going to stop off here. I might do a little shot of the church, or do something around here first, then head over the ridge, maybe drive around, get to the Glenachulish itself, head up the track, and let's see if we can go and try and find this location again. So come and join me, and let's see if we can find the hidden gem of Glencoe. I'm just outside Glenachulish now, and there is a church, very prominent church. You come outside of Glenachulish on the left-hand side of the loch, and it's called St John's Church. It's not a particularly old church, actually. It was only 1842, so it's not really old comparing to a lot of churches around here, and it was probably built for the quarrymen just in the village itself. But what is interesting, there's a little storeroom just off to the side here, and you'll see this storeroom is ordained with a few crosses, a cross on the top and a cross on the door. And the reason for that is this storeroom does have a little bit of history in terms of the Jacobite and all that kind of stuff. So probably for me to put this into context, I'm probably going to have to give you a little bit of a mini history lesson. So we'll see how we go. I'll just bear with me here, and you'll see what it all works out. But you've got to bear in mind, King James II of England, and he is the 7th of Scotland. He left the throne. He's a Catholic king, and he was forced out of the throne because of his Catholic beliefs in 1688. And what happened then, he went off into exile into France, but he had a son, and his son was called Bonnie Prince Charlie. You may have heard of him. Now, Bonnie Prince Charlie back into Scotland, and we're talking the Jacobite uprising, 1742, Culloden and all that kind of stuff. But he was a very charismatic person, Bonnie Prince Charlie was. And he had a lot of secret followers who obviously after the battle didn't really want to confess that they were followers of Bonnie Prince Charlie. So he had a very close-knit band of people who were secret followers. And the problem is you've got King William of Orange now, who is on the throne now. He's a Protestant king, and he made it against penal law that you couldn't actually preach Catholic religion in this area around the Highlands here. So all the Catholic priests and that were preaching in car parks and on land and in caves secretly, so nobody would sort of see that they were preaching. But the thing is with Glenachulish, and this shed here, this was a storeroom, and it was gifted by the landowner, a man called Stuart, who gifted it to a bishop called Bishop Forbes. And Bishop Forbes was one of Bonnie Prince Charlie's secret men who was very close to him. So he came here and he started to preach at the little Jacobite church here. And he had quite literally had a roof over his head compared to everybody else, and that allowed him to preach the Catholic religion around this site. Now, it's a beautiful church. It's actually been ordained as a church now, and it's a beautiful church, and the main reason for it is come May time, every other year the whole area here just is absolutely alive with bluebells, and it looks amazing. I'm going to take a couple of shots here and see if I can get some nice shots now. We're obviously sort of late September now, so I'm coming up to the beautiful autumn colours, but it's not quite there yet. So I might take a couple of shots here just around here and get some comps. But then what I might do is I might show you one of my photos I've taken when it's in the height of bluebells, which is quite nice. Okay, let's see if we can find some comps, and hopefully we'll get something pretty good. Okay, I'm on the back of the camera now. I think I found a fairly decent composition. I really quite like it actually. What I'm using is, I'm using this bit of grass here and this weeds, and that kind of leading the eye with this cut grass here, which really leads the eye to the little shed there, the little church. And then that guides your eye up to the graves there, and then also the light here. And that's beautiful. I do have to be careful, this is a big dynamic range. The shadows in here are really quite low, and the highlights is quite bright. I'm shooting sort of heading a little bit west here, so I've got the sun. Luckily there's a cloud over there, so it's not really too bright. But that's a big dynamic range, so I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up having to bracket this just for that dynamic range. So I've also got to be a little cautious, because even though this shot itself, it's quite close to the camera, I do have these big mountains in the distance here, just tipping over to Glenachulish, which is just behind them. So I need to be a bit cautious with my focus, because the temptation is just to focus here and then maybe on the little church there as well. But then these mountains might be a bit soft in the background, so I might actually focus stack as well. And I'm finding myself doing more and more of this is focus stacking and HDR as well all together, and it's just giving me better quality photos without, it's a bit more work, and just putting that grad filter on is a lot easier, but I'm finding myself getting better shots, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to have a little shot of this and let's see how it looks. Okay, that wasn't a bad shot, a bit moody, but I quite like that. I think it was pretty good. I will confess though, the best shot here is when the bluebells are out. So I think what I'm going to do is when I get back, I'm going to go through my archives and just drag out the shot I got, which is the best shot I've ever got from St John's, when the whole area was just covered in bluebells. I did use quite a shallow depth of field, so the foreground, the bluebells are out of focus, but then it goes into focus on the little church itself. And I was so lucky that day that the light just could have come over, and it just happened for a split second, and the light just lit everything up. It's a kind of a beautiful shot. You need to understand that it was taken probably about 10 years ago, when colours were vivid and we like to be a bit more punchy than we are nowadays. So don't criticise me for how punchy it is, but it is still a lovely shot. So have a look at this shot of bluebells with St John's. Okay, it's about 5 o'clock now, and I'm going to head over to Glenachulish. Probably got about another 2 hours, hour and a half to sunset, so I'm going to head over there, else I'm going to run out of time. Luckily there's not a lot of walking. I've pulled my leg, my calf muscle, I pulled it doing a bit of jogging, because obviously I'm a finely tuned athlete. So I've pulled it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm struggling, so I'm not doing any big mountains at the moment. But Glenachulish, this route is quite an easy flat sort of route. It's a little bit of uphill but not too bad, so hopefully the calf muscle will hang on in there. So let's get over there before that light goes and let's see if we can get that beautiful vista and sunset. So as you walk up to the track and then you get to all the industrial stuff here, I'm guessing that's going to be cleaned up pretty soon, they're not far away now. And then the track bends very sharply to the right and then heads into the forestry. It's beautiful. If you have a look behind me there, and there is Glenachulish, and you can just see that bit there, that's the Dragon's Tooth, which is quite nice. So yeah, that's quite a nice little route. But we're not going to head up to that way, we're going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to head up this little track here and then we'll go as far as we can before we turn right. Okay, so once you've come around the bend of that curve, then it curves very sharply to the left normally. But unfortunately there's been a bit of a landslide about 2 years ago and it's all sort of gone away. So they've closed the road there, you can't actually get up there now, which is a shame because it was a great mountain biking route, you could do a good circular. But that's fine because when we get to this point there is another road that tees off and I always wondered where it went, and this is where I thought, well okay, I can't go around there on my mountain bike, let's head down here. So I head up on this track here. It goes for miles, it really does, and all it is lots of boring forestry because you don't get very many views because you're right in the forestry. But then at the end, all of a sudden it will open out and we get the absolute stunning view that I'm hoping for. Okay, so let's go and put some legwork in. I might give you a little bit of B-roll of me walking through some forest, and then all of a sudden you're going to get an amazing view at the end there. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so that's me walk through miles and miles of wood. Oh dear, it's a nightmare. The track is just goes on and on and on, and because the forestry is so dense, you don't get any view at all. So you're just walking in forestry for about at least 20 odd 30 minutes, But then eventually you just see some light at the top there, and as I was coming up, because I'm going for sunset, I'm heading west, and the sun was just directly down the track, which was just so almost angelic. And as you come out, then you just come past this, you see this little shed here over here, and that's a mobile phone mast. And then as you come past that, the view just opens out to what can be only described as a stunning vista. I'll flip you around and show you what I'm looking at here. It's just stunning. As I come around, just get the sun out of the shot. So as we come round, you'll see this is coming down, and this is coming round to North Ballachulish, and then it just comes all over here, and this is the start of Loch Linney coming around here, and there's Onuk, and then just round the back there is the Corran Ferry, and then that goes back to Loch Linney all the way up to Fort William. And then these mountains over the water here, this is Ardnamurchan Peninsula, which is just fantastic. I'm definitely going to do a blog from there one day. And as you come round, you'll see this lovely sort of U-shaped V in the valley there, and quite often sunsets over there, which is lovely. That's heading towards Strontian. And then this comes all the way along. This is still Loch Linney, and it goes all the way down into the sun, and that's going to get you to Oban. Now, as you can see, the sun's right at me at the moment, but I'm actually really excited, because if I come back round again, look at those beautiful clouds I've got here. This is perfect conditions, it really is. And the thing is at the moment, we're just coming to end of September. Let me come out of that sun here. We're coming to the end of September. So what starts happening now is all the grasses are starting to go brown. The leaves are going a little bit. I'm probably about a week, 2 weeks early before the leaves are really gone. But the grasses are going brown, and the textures in the landscape was just fantastic. The trouble is in the summer is it goes very green, everything's very uniform green, and now we're starting to get those colours going. The bracken's on its way, and you start getting some lovely browns coming in and oranges, which are just wanting that sort of autumn colours. So you can tell in my voice I'm really excited, because if this works, there is a bit of a bank of cloud. There's always a bank of cloud, isn't there? But if there's a bit of bank of cloud, then I might be in trouble. But it just looks fantastic. And if this all goes pink, then definitely worth the trek. Okay, I'm on the back of the camera now, and I'm absolutely loving this little boulder here. Not this here, get out of the way. The rest of it, the boulder that the thing's sitting on. Fern, come out of the way. Oh dear, she's going to ruin my shot. Anyway, the reason I love it is it's just a lovely little ridge that's coming down, just a little bit of ridge of granite there, and it's just offset a little bit, and it just points this way. The sun is up here, so it's quite high, and that is going to set about here somewhere, which is that lovely V going off to Strontian across the water there at Ardnamurchan Peninsula. So I'm really excited with that. I've got some lovely clouds in the sky, and the light coming along here is just stunning. So I'll just show you what the sun's looking like. I'll just come on down a little bit, because it's a bit bright. So let me just come down a little bit. There you go. So that's kind of the shot we're going to see in the top area here. So if these clouds go pink here and here, I'll be absolutely delighted. There's the dreaded usual bank of cloud. So that might scupper my plans, but it's quite low actually, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's a bit too early to take the shot yet, so I've probably got about 20 more minutes to wait. But unusually I'm in position well enough time. Usually I'm running around like an headless chicken, but today I've got here on time. So yeah, and that light is just going to be beautiful if it stays on in there. So okay, if this shot works out, let's see what we get, and here we go. Okay, well that weren't too bad considering. What a great location, what a hidden gem. Keep it quiet, don't tell anybody, but it's just brilliant. There's nobody here, I didn't get bothered with anybody, no tourists, it was fantastic. So definitely going to come back here. Now it takes quite a bit of effort to come and do these videos, so if you thank me by just going down and giving me a thumbs up, it just helps me so much, and it really does help the channel out. And if you really like what you're seeing and you like this content, then if you go down and click on the subscribe button, and if you tickle the bell, you'll get a notification every time I post new content. I would love to post more videos, but I'm just too busy, I'm afraid. But I do love doing them, so just comment below, just give me some appreciation, and hopefully maybe time will get a bit more and I can get a bit more space to do a few more of these videos. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you love them as much as I love making them, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Well, hello and welcome back to Glencoe, and I'm on the lovely banks of Loch Linney here. No, I'm not. So the church at St John's is not particularly old actually, it's 1842, so it's not a really old church. It's an episcopal, I can't say it, episcopal? It's one of those churches anyway. It was kicked off the throne in 1686. It wasn't, it was 1668.